everything we do makes driving better for you. And by Papermate AccuPoint Roller Pen from Gillette for remarkably smooth fine-point writing. Auburn and Alabama in the championship game of the SEC tournament. Here's how they got there. Auburn beating Ole Miss in the first round 68-60, knocking off top-seeded LSU 58-55, and last night holding off Florida by a point 43-42. Alabama opened up with an 11-point win over Mississippi State, and last night played an outstanding game of basketball, leading by 20 at the half, and then defeating Georgia by 21, 74-53. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Birmingham Jefferson County Civic Center in Birmingham, Alabama, for the championship game of the Southeastern Conference Tournament. I'm Tom Hammond. I'll call the play-by-play this afternoon, and Joe Dean alongside for the color commentary, an all-Alabama final. And as we looked at how they got here, Joe, it's very obvious that Auburn has had to play one more game, and their games have been tougher games. Will fatigue be a factor?
Tom, I think it will be a factor. It's their fourth game in 4 days, as you mentioned. They've had 3 tough games. Fatigue could set in. Coach Wimp Sanderson of Alabama is aware of that. He faced that on this court against Georgia 2 years ago. He told me before the game that he could very easily go to full court pressure in the second half.
Joe, Alabama, of course, is the top defensive team in the league. They'll have to defend Chuck Person, and Auburn has to worry about the inside game of Buck Johnson and Bobby Lee Hurt. Should be a great matchup. Auburn and Alabama for the championship. We'll be back to Birmingham live for the introduction of the starting lineups in just a moment. Jefferson County Civic Center in Birmingham, Alabama for the championship game of the Southeastern Conference Tournament. Alabama record 21-8, Auburn 19-11. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for today's title game. First for Auburn, starting at a guard, a 6'1 sophomore from Augusta, Georgia, Gerald White, averaging 8 points and 2 rebounds a game. Starting at guard for Alabama, number 23, Mark Gottfried, 6'2, a sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, averaging 9 points a game. Starting at guard for Auburn is Frank Ford. He's number 15, a 6'4 sophomore from Kissimmee, Florida, averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds a game. Starting for Alabama at guard is Terry Connor, number 30. He's a 6'3 sophomore from here in Birmingham. He averages 11 a game, leads the SEC in assists. At forward for Auburn, Chris Morris, 6'7 freshman, Atlanta, Georgia, averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds a game. He is an all-SEC freshman performer. And another freshman starts for Alabama, Derek McKees, number 41, 6'9 from Meridian, Mississippi. Starting for Auburn will be Chuck Person, the All-American candidate, 6'8, a junior, Brantley, Alabama, second leading scorer in the SEC, 22 a game, averages 9 rebounds. Buck Johnson starts for Alabama, 6'7", a junior from Birmingham, averaging 16 points, 9 rebounds a game. The final starter, center for Auburn, is Jeff Moore, 6'7", freshman from Birmingham, averages 9 points and 7 rebounds. And starting at center for Alabama, Bobby Lee Hurt, 6'9", senior from Huntsville, Alabama, averaging 12 points and 8 rebounds a game. That's the starting lineup for each team. Alabama coached by Wimp Sanderson, Auburn coached by Sonny Smith. An all-Alabama final in the SEC Tournament Championship game. Auburn and Alabama live from Birmingham. We'll be back with the opening tip-off of today's title game in just a moment. Ready to go from Birmingham, Bobby Lee Hurt jumping against Chris Morris, and Auburn controls the opening tap. Alabama won both regular season meetings, winning by 5 at Auburn and winning by 2 in double overtime in Tuscaloosa. What about the Alabama defense?
Well, they've opened up strictly man-to-man defensively. That's what won so big for them against Georgia here last night. Derek McKee is matched up 1-against-1 against All-American candidate Chuck Person.
Jeff Moore got it in close, couldn't hit from there, got his own rebound, misses on the follow. There's Person to put it back in. Auburn got 3 shots at it. They're the number 1 rebounding team in the league.
Tough to stop on the offensive glass. They just come at you wave after wave, almost impossible to shut down. Chuck Person, one of their leading rebounders and one of the better rebounders in this league.
Third in the league in rebounding.
Third in the league in rebounding. Right, Tom. And Auburn's in a zone defense. They're desperately going to try to shut down the power of the inside Alabama game.
Here's Bobby Lee Hurt, gets it inside, triple team, and he's fouled. They got it inside to Hurt. He muscled it up with 3 blue shirts around him, and he'll have a chance for the 3-point play. Watch it again.
That's the one thing they did not want. They did not want to let them get the ball inside low in the paint to Bobby Lee Hurt or Buck Johnson. That's exactly what Alabama did.
Foul on Jeff Moore. That's the first foul whistled in the game. And it sends Hurt to the free throw line. Not one of his strong points, about 59%. It rolls off, so the game tied at 2. We played exactly a minute and a tie game. The winner gets an automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. Frank Ford can't hit outside. Terry Connor rebounds for Alabama. Crimson Tide a chance to take its first lead. Gottfried had the shot from outside, thought better of it.
Both teams like to run, particularly Auburn. They'll really push it at every opportunity.
Connor got in the air, couldn't get the shot away, tried to save it to Gottfried, no good, out of bounds. Alabama turns it over. So Auburn will come up court now with a chance to break the 2-2 tie. Gerald White, the point man on the offense for the Tigers, guarded by Terry Connor. Inside to Person. He's triple teamed. Kicks back to Ford. Around the horn to Morris. Outside shot from the freshman, no good. Person, another rebound. It's good. No, came out. No basket. Person had one roll halfway down and come out. And then Morris commits a foul trying to get the rebound.
Well, you saw the power of the offensive work by the Auburn Tigers. Desperately trying to keep things moving. And Tom, you've mentioned earlier, they really go to the offensive board. They're almost impossible to stop. It's one of the reasons why Alabama is in a man defense, to increase the blockout assignments to give them a greater opportunity of keeping the Auburn Tigers off the board.
Still tied at 2. Alabama's basketball here. Auburn sticks with his own defense. Gottfried, outside shot. The long bomber, no good. But the rebound right back to Auburn. Laying it in is Derek McKee.
One of the problems on the other side, Auburn in that zone defense, no block-out assignments. Nobody touched McKee, and the freshman so quick. Picked up the miss by Gottfried and drove it home.
Alabama with its first lead. Crimson Tide up 4-2. There's a foul called on McKee, the freshman out of Meridian, Mississippi. That's the first foul called on Alabama in the game.
Some person can take you high and shoot it. He can take you low and score. And Derek McKee, just a freshman, he's got his work cut out for him. You saw Sonny Smith there directing traffic for the Auburn Tigers. This could be maybe his last game as the Auburn coach. We hope with 19 wins they get an NCAA bid.
Tigers 19-11. They can ensure themselves of a second straight year in the NCAA tournament with a victory in this championship game. Last year they went under Sonny Smith for the first time in their history. Person outside, he got it. What range Chuck Person has. Last night he was hitting him from 20 feet against Florida. He had 26 points last night in 3 tourney games. He has averaged 24 points.
Bama zoned that inbounds pass. Of course, they had to stay in it. Auburn picked it up, and Chuck Person, as you mentioned, Tom, with the super range, played a little string music here for the Auburn Tigers in Birmingham, Alabama.
Ties the game at 4. Buck Johnson comes outside to get it. Gottfried is open from the corner, rims out. Tapped back to Johnson. Goes up with a shot, it'll count, and he's fouled by White. Johnson had White right in his face, went up and hit it.
He does that so well. Good offensive board again by Alabama. They're really taking it to Auburn on the boards. They're staying right with them. Nobody really blocked him out, although the rebound was a long rebound. That was the last offensive set by Auburn. You see Chuck Person hitting a shot from really downtown. Look at it again. Buck Johnson, foul, good body control, chance at a 3-point play.
Johnson, with his 3rd point of the day, has moved into 14th place on the all-time Alabama career scoring list. 1,226 points.
Full court pressure by Alabama.
Crimson Tide with a 3-point lead, biggest lead of the game for either team, as a result of that 3-point trip by Buck Johnson. Johnson averaging 16 a game, Hurt averaging 12 a game. That's the inside power of this Bama team, which has won 7 straight. They started the winning streak with a double overtime win over Auburn. Person can't hit that one from long range, perhaps a step out of his shooting range, and Buck Johnson with a rebound. Connor has it, and Bama with a chance to take a 5-point lead.
Last night, Chuck Person hit at will against Florida from about 18, 20 feet. But Derek McKee the freshman for Alabama, is really going belly up with him, trying to shut down that great outside shooting.
The development of McKee late in his freshman season has been part of the success story for this Bama team.
They thought he would be good, but not this quick. Didn't score a point last night in the game, Tom, but he didn't need to, because Buck Johnson, Bobby Lee Hurt, and Terry Connor took over that, but he had 7 rebounds and covered well.
Here's a shot from McKee, and it's a beauty.
Well, he answered all the critics there. He can score.
Well,
Nothing but the bottom of the sack.
4 points. He leads Alabama in scoring, and the Tide up by 5, 9-4. That's their biggest lead. Remember, no 45-second shot clock in this SEC tournament. Hurt blocks the shot by Moore. Moore gets it back, misses in close, tapped out to Gottfried, who takes it on the fly. 2 on 3. Johnson goes down. Gottfried to the hoop. He hits the deck and is knocked out of bounds to Alabama. No foul.
Well, we hit players all over the court. Long rebound. They kicked it out quick. Bama running. Gottfried couldn't get it to go, but it'll be Alabama's ball out of bounds. Look at it again.
Here's Derek McKee with that shot, the last possession for Alabama. Auburn came down, missed a shot. Bama came the other way. Their ball when they come back. Timeout, 14:57 left. Bama leads by. Tom Hammond and Joe Dean from Birmingham. Alabama trying to become the first team in history to win 2 tournament championships since the tournament was revived. And here you see the all-SEC performers, Buck Johnson of Alabama, averaging 16 points and 9 rebounds. Chuck Person of Auburn, All-American, All-SEC, 22 points and 9 rebounds, 2 of the best in the nation on the wing spots. In fact, the SEC traditionally a forward league. We said Alabama trying to become the first team to win 2 tournaments since its revival. Auburn trying to win its first tournament championship, and also trying to become the first team without a bye in the opening round to win the tourney championship. Connor has it stripped from behind by Morris. Good block by the freshman. Morris leads the break, gives it up to Ford. He is fouled. No basket to foul occurring before the shot got on its way. It's going to be on Bobby Lee Hurt.
Well, you could see the steal by Chris Morris against Terry Connor, and they tried to go coast to coast with it. They love to kick it out. They love to run, and Chris Morris particularly, number 34, just a freshman. He'll release very early, runs the court so well, and he'll pick up something cheap on you if you're not back and ready to play defense. And that's Coach Wimp Sanderson, who's 11-5 in tourney play in the Southeastern Conference, and that's number 1 in this league.
Alabama with that man-to-man defense. Auburn in possession of the basketball, down 5.
Auburn just 2 of 9 so far, not shooting so well. Bama 4 of 6. Auburn behind in rebounding, and that's a surprise. 6-4, Alabama's favorite.
Morris is open, shot good.
Oh, he got nothing but the bottom. String music for Chris Morris.
Auburn in the championship game of the SEC tournament for the 2nd consecutive year. Led by Charles Barkley. They were here last year. Finals in Nashville. Lost to Kentucky on a last-second shot by Kenny Walker. Buck Johnson got it in close. Missed the shot. Tapped by Morris and taken by Chris Morris. Here's Morris out on the fly in front court. Feeds it over to Ford. His shot short. Person jams on the rebound.
Well, quick transition by Auburn. It had Alabama not really set up defensively to play. Wimp Sanderson thought Chuck Person had his hand on the rim, and that's why he was complaining so much. Nobody blocked out Chuck Person, and he stuffed it home.
Alabama's lead cut to only 1. 13:25 remaining first half for the tournament championship in Birmingham. Gottfried. Now in his 3rd attempt, Gottfried cans one from downtown. Mark Gottfried with his first bucket. All the Alabama starters, with the exception of Terry Connor, have scored, and it's an 11-8 Bama lead.
Auburn will gamble that Gottfried can't hit outside. He must open up the inside game.
There's Chuck Person, off-balance baseline, drifting back toward the basket. A pretty shot by Person.
When he goes inside, he'll work the baseline. It's a spot they can get the ball to him, and as we've mentioned to you, he can do it inside, he can do it out. You saw him there, muscle a little bit along that baseline, guarded very tightly by Derek McKee, but he couldn't stop him.
Buck Johnson got the good roll. Johnson just got it down on the baseline, turned and fired, and bounced through.
Same thing holds true there. Tom, it's so tough to defend along that end line because you can't go out of bounds to guard. And if you'll throw it on that side, it's difficult for the defensive player. And they work to get the ball to Buck Johnson and Chuck Person in that area.
Person double team, kicks it out to White. Comes at long range to set it up.
Auburn in a 1-4 offensive set against the man-to-man defense by the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Person, look at him, he wants the ball. Now he's got it in his hands, swings it to the other side. Gerald White, baseline drive. Hurt came over to cut him off. Holland is able to save it for Auburn. Kerry Holland, the 6'7" senior out of Baldwin, Florida, averaging 5 a game for Sonny Smith. He's been a valuable 6th man for the Tigers this season. Here's Person, shoots over Johnson, no good. Hurt clears the rebound. Gottfried over to Connor. Connor penetrates, off the glass, no good, and a foul. It's going to be charging foul on Terry Connor. That's the first foul on Connor, 3 now on the Crimson Tide.
Well, Terry Connor, you see him right there. He penetrated at will against the Georgia Bulldogs in the semifinal round when they ran out to a 20-point halftime lead. But he couldn't do it here.
Timeout, 11:34 remaining first half. Bama by 3.
Well, what do you think your first day on the job?
Nothing like an office with a...
Prone on the floor. It remains to be seen whether the Auburn Tiger players are going to be suffering from fatigue, playing their 4th game in 4 nights. Don't forget, at the conclusion of today's game, we will be selecting a golf MVP, one from each team. Gulf Oil and its dealers will donate a $500 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both Auburn and Alabama as part of the Golf MVP program.
Alabama's... Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
Has the lead in the series. I'm just going to say, Joe, as you can see, 48-35. And this season, Alabama was a winner in Tuscaloosa in double overtime by 2. And oddly enough, had a little easier time in Auburn, winning by 5, but took both regular season leads.
Chuck Person, by the way, had 36 points against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They just could not shut him down at all.
And inside, Kerry Holland gets one off the glass. That was a pretty move, sort of a jump hook, as Holland cracks the scoring column, and Auburn pulls within 1 at 13-12.
They were in a 1-4 set, but they were in a double stack, and they ran the wing people out that opened it up underneath. They got it to Kerry Holland, and he has excellent hands. They're very high on him, the only senior on this Auburn team. So whoever takes over for Sonny Smith is going to have a lot of talent.
Auburn appears to be in a 1-3-1 here with Chris Morris out on the point at 6'7". Jim Farmer is open, can't hit it. Rebound right to McKee, who lays it in with a finger roll. Derek McKee, leading scorer for Alabama, with 6 points.
Everybody on the Auburn team sort of looked at each other saying, well, who's supposed to block him off the board? Nobody touched him. The ball went across the long way. Derek McKee right there and laid it back in, and he's now fronting desperately on the inside against Chuck Person.
Tide again leads by 3. Jim Farmer in the game for Alabama. Here's Gerald White missing, and Connor chases down the rebound. Jim Farmer, 21 in white, 6'3", sophomore Dothan, Alabama, averaging 6 points a game. Lob for Hurt, comes down with it, back up to draw the foul.
You would think Bobby Lee Hurt would catch that ball and go ahead and jam it, but he is a little bit weak-handed. He doesn't have the greatest hands in the world, and this man here knows it, so he's instructed him, go up, catch the ball, come back down, and then go up and try to stuff it home. They fouled him just as he got up trying to stick it in. He was really going to stuff it, and he shoots everything so close in. You can see his field goal shooting percentage at 62.4%, and that's number 1 in the Southeastern Conference.
12 points, 8 rebounds a game, and not a very good free throw shooter, as you saw. He also has the lead in another SEC statistical category. He's number 1 in blocked shots in the SEC. Last foul was on Gerald White, his second, 4th against Auburn. Alabama has committed 3. Full court pressure, knocked out of bounds by Farmer. Johnny Lynn into the game for Auburn. Number 14, he's a 6'2" freshman from Hendersonville, Tennessee, averaging a point a game and has seen a lot of action down through the stretch of the season for Sonny Smith. Fans really getting worked up here for this all-state of Alabama final. Lob inside Person. 3 white shirts around him. Hurt got him on the arm. That'll be the second foul on Bobby Lee Hurt, and the 4th against the Crimson Tide.
That's a tough call with 9:47 to go in the first half. That's 2 fouls on Bobby Lee Hurt.
Joe, they changed it. They called it on Derek McKee. I thought it was on Hurt. It's on McKee, and it's his section.
That's a blow either way because both big men and both very active. And, of course, when you're guarding Chuck Person, you expect to foul some. And, of course, that's what's happening to Derek McKee. They don't want to have to put Buck Johnson on Chuck Person because they don't want to lose him and they feel like it wears him out so, trying to guard person defensively, that it hurts his offense at the other end. So that's why McKee had the assignment today.
Chuck Person has just hit double figures for the 65th game in a row. That's his 10th point. Farmer on a breakout runs over a man and is called for charging. It was Kerry Holland set up to take the charge. Farmer should have pulled up, but he bowled him over and picked up his first foul.
Poor judgment by Jim Farmer. He didn't have it at all. He didn't have the numbers, and he just ran over the defense. Good call. We'll go the other way.
Alabama leading by 3. There's the foul again. Good position by Holland, and that man Farmer with his first personal. Lynn feeds out at long range to Ford. Alabama sticks with a man-to-man defense. McKee still guarding Person. Just picked up his second foul a moment ago. Fake and a good jump shot by Frank Ford. Ford hits it.
Ford having a super season as a sophomore. He was very inconsistent as a shooter last year. This year, shooting 54.4% on the year.
Auburn has cut the Alabama lead to 1.
And Auburn is still in that zone defense, desperately trying to shut down the inside Alabama game.
They have held Buck Johnson to 5, Bobby Lee Hurt to 4, but meanwhile, Derek McKee has pitched in with 6. So the Alabama inside game still very strong. All but 2 of their points have come from their 3 inside players. McKee can't hit that one. Buck Johnson with a follow. No good. Fight for it. Johnson has it again. Off the glass. Blocked by Morris. Johnson again and Hurt. And it'll count.
It went in anyway. They call goaltending, but it went in anyway. It didn't matter. You'll not see better offensive board work anywhere. Auburn's supposed to be the great power on the glass. Alabama knows that they've come to play. And there's Coach Sonny Smith directing traffic for the Auburn Tigers.
Buck Johnson really determined work on the offensive glass that time against the #1 rebounding team in the conference.
Of course, he leads Alabama in that department. Over 9 a game.
Ford fakes, fires, no good. Johnson another rebound. This one on the defensive end. And Connor sets sail for the Crimson Tide. Bobby Lee Hurt wanted the lob. He was open underneath. Couldn't get it to him. Farmer shoots, no good. Hurt battling Ford. It comes down to Holland of Auburn.
Alabama got the good shot. They got it up quickly, mainly because of penetration by Terry Connor, but Jim Farmer just couldn't get it to go down.
Lynn walks it up for the Tigers. They trail by 3. This is Morris, guarded by Buck Johnson. Whipped it to Holland. Fakes, shoots over Hurt. He got it. Senior against senior. Holland just shoots it in over Bobby Lee Hurt. His 4th point.
Trey Holland only averaging 5 a game, but as we mentioned to you, he can play the post position very well, and one of the reasons he's in is that Jeff Moore's just a freshman, maybe feeling a little pressure. They're going to go with the senior a little bit.
There's a freshman, Derek McKee. He's not feeling any pressure. The native of Meridian, Mississippi now has 8 points to lead Alabama in scoring, tied again by 3, 21-18.
He didn't have to shoot against Georgia. We mentioned he didn't score because they could get it inside. That inside is so tight this afternoon, you wouldn't believe it. So he's not afraid to put up that little 12, 15-footer, and he's making them go.
Lynn with a good fake got open, couldn't hit. Hurt fighting with Holland. Holland wins but misses the shot, and Johnson clears it for Bama. Connor up court in a hurry. In the paint, Connor's shot good.
Beautiful penetration against the defense. Pulled up, didn't charge this time. Good transition basket by the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Alabama's lead goes to 5, equaling their biggest advantage. Wimp Sanderson getting a run-out basket that time. All 5 of their starters have scored. Holland inside, shoots over Hurt. This one missed everything. There's Johnson again. Johnson is ruling the defensive board.
And Bama went to a zone defense on that offensive set by the Auburn Tigers. I didn't think Auburn picked it up very well, and it cost them. They shot an air ball.
Auburn this time appears to be in a 3-2 zone defense.
They keep changing their zones, Tom, to give them a different look.
Got the ball to Hurt. He pounded it in from in close and was fouled as well. Hurt will go to the line.
One of the few times they've been able to get it real deep and real low, and that's where Bobby Lee Hurt has to have it. They got it to him in the paint. He brought it home, and there's a chance now to 3-point play, and Bama again looks razor sharp, just like they did here last night.
Kerry Holland has committed his first foul. That's 5 now against Auburn this half. Alabama played a flawless first half against Georgia last night, and Joe, they are coming back smoking again to start this one.
You mentioned Buck Johnson. He's doing it on the defensive glass, and he's kicking it out, making some things happen, and they were fortunate that they've been able to get it in just deep enough to Bobby Lee Hurt to make some things happen.
3 free throws in a row. Sonny Smith hadn't given up. He's going to try to rally his troops with 6:08 remaining in the first half. Timeouts with the score. Alabama 26, Auburn 18. Back to Birmingham in just a moment. Year tournament time in college basketball final in the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament in Atlanta. Georgia Tech playing in the Omni, beating Duke 75-64 in a match of 2 NCAA-bound teams. Overtime from the Metro, the championship game there. Memphis State beating Florida State 90-86. And from the Southwest Conference, a semifinal game, Texas Tech continues to roll, beating Texas A&M 72-63.
And the comparisons between the two fine forwards in this game, Chuck Person of Auburn, Buck Johnson of Alabama. Chuck Person 10 points, 4 boards. Buck Johnson just 7 points, but 7 big rebounds so far. And we still got 6:06 to go in the first half.
Alabama leads it by 8. That's the biggest lead for either team. In fact, Alabama has led most of the way. Auburn by 2 early. But since then, it's been all Alabama. Ford, baseline jumper is short. Moore back in, has the rebound and lays it in. Jeff Moore had good position.
Bama's zone defense that time. And Tom, no block out at all. And that's what happens when you make that kind of a defensive change. When they were in the man defense, they were blocking off beautifully and picking up everything that came off the Auburn glass. Not that time. Jeff Moore on just a simple putback in.
Normal game for Auburn finds them getting a lot of putbacks, a lot of offensive rebounds. That's where they excel. And Alabama had cut that off here early. That time Moore got free for an easy one. Connor trying to penetrate. Gottfried fakes but doesn't shoot. Johnson posting up low. Couldn't get it to him. Gottfried, so he let it fly. No good. Morris has the rebound. Here's the outlet to White. They're 2-on-2. White shoots over Connor. Got it off the glass.
2 quick baskets by Auburn just put them right back in this basketball game. They've cut the lead back to 4.
6 Auburn players have scored. 4 points in a row for the Tigers. They're within 4. Sonny Smith leading the cheers for the fans here at the Civic Center.
And all that was for Auburn, just a quick transition basket. Just got it down the floor quick, got a shot in the basket before the Bama defense could really get set up and get organized. Of course, that's the kind of game they love to play. Push it, push it, push it.
Hurt. About 16 feet from the basket. Gottfried has got Johnson posted up low. Person guarding him.
Now that's a great picture of that Auburn zone defense. Look at it. They've completely backed it in. They're desperately trying to shut down everything inside. They are gambling that Gottfried, Farmer, and Connor can't hit from the outside.
Hurt caught it over Person, who was at position on the zone. Saved inbounds to Hurt, who hits it off the board.
Well, they got it in low to Bobby Lee Hurt. They kicked it away. Ball was almost saved by Auburn, but Bobby Lee Hurt brought it back to the glass and made it go home.
The senior from Huntsville closing out an all-SEC campaign, and already with 9 points in this one. Trying to bounce pass inside, luckily saved by Auburn. Moore about 4 pumps before he shot it, no good. Fight for the rebound. Farmer has it for Alabama. Alabama with a 6-point lead in the ball. Here's Connor. He can't get his shot off. Buck Johnson shoots it over Person. Bounces off. Person clears the rebound. Person spots White.
That's what Bama wants, Tom. They want to get it to Buck Johnson. Get it along that baseline. Oh.
Chuck Person from 22 feet.
What range. Unbelievable. They had a little transition. They really didn't have it. He was the last player coming up. The defense didn't really pick him up, but do you pick up at that distance? Unbelievable range, at least 22 feet, and he's got nothing but the bottom of the sack.
12 points in the game for Chuck Person. Pulls Auburn within 4. Person with half of the Auburn total so far, keeping them in the game. Here's Buck Johnson, 16-footer won't go. More rebounds for Auburn. Tigers on the run. Person pulls up, jumper, no good. Ford knocks it to Morris, who jams it down and is fouled by Connor. It'll count. He'll go to the line.
Gives the Auburn crowd here a chance to roar. It's about 50-50 in this house. Since Alabama went to the zone defense, I think it's given them some problems. They had one steal early, but since that time, they've struggled, particularly on this glass right here. Here you see Ford. He got a piece of it. They got it back to Morris. Morris brings it home, and he's fouled, and a chance now to three-point play.
What has Auburn done differently to improve their offensive rebounding here the last couple of minutes?
Tom, nothing that they haven't done, just that the fact they're still going to the glass, but Bama's not blocking off as well. Consequently, Auburn's getting some offensive boards.
Person grabbed that one off the miss by Morris, and Auburn with a chance for a 4-point trip.
You just have a tendency when you're in the zone defense not to block out anybody because you're guarding an area instead of an individual person.
Moore shot from long range for him. Fought for his own rebound, knocked it to Ford, is fouled as he goes up. Frank Ford will go to the line for two.
Bama had kind of a tough break there. It was a long rebound, and Frank Ford, who's very physical and very strong, he got that long rebound, and he just brought it back to the basket with power. He's about 6'4", 205. Very strong, as we mentioned. Fouled as he put it up, and he'll shoot two.
7th team foul on Alabama. The first whistle on Darrell Neal, the 6'8" junior out of Los Angeles, California. Free throw good by Frank Ford, his third point of the game. Averaging 11 a contest.
Just when it looked like Alabama was going to kind of pull away, Chuck Person rallied his troops and brought them back, and they've tied the score.
4-point trip for the Auburn Tigers. That's pulled them even with Alabama. We've got a timeout. 2 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the first half. Tied up at 28. Civic Center, where Auburn has come from 8 points back to tie it at 28. With Chuck Person and the great offensive rebounding of the Tigers taking over. There's the, what's that, roll tide, isn't it?
Roll Tide. That man's been standing in the lobby of the hotel over here every day, holding his little Tide sign up there. Roll Tide, and so far it's paid dividends. Score, Tom, Notre Dame 80, Dayton 73.
There's two independents hoping for NCAA tournament berths. Notre Dame a winner. Wichita State in the MVC championship game, beating Tulsa, the regular season champion, 84-82. Final in Big Ten regular season play, Wisconsin over Northwestern, 61-53. Big 8 championship, Oklahoma, who coasted to victory in the regular season, winning by 2 over Iowa State.
Auburn 12 of 29. They've had 5 more shots than Alabama, just 41%. Bama 12 of 24, 50%, but as I mentioned, not as many shots. The rebounding's almost evened up. It's 16-14 in favor of Alabama, and that's really been a war.
Here's Terry Connor. Flips it back outside to Gottfried.
Bama has Darrell Neal in time to help with outside perimeter shooting.
And Auburn still in that zone. Appears to be a 3-2. We've got Lynn, White, and Morris out front with Moore and Person underneath. Person called for the foul as he went for the steal.
Well, they want to get it to Chuck Person. They're on a 3-2, and they think they can get it to Buck Johnson low on the baseline. And, of course, the zone's trying to back him on one side. That was Henderson who was trying to front him. Chuck Person on the backside tried to get the steal. Foul just as the pass came in.
First foul on Person, 6 now against Auburn, with 1:24 to play in the first half. Still tied at 28. Morris got a hand on it, knocked it out of bounds. Morris, 6'7", those big long arms. He is a problem up there on the front of that zone.
No question, and that's why he's up there. He's very active, the long arm, as you mentioned, and he makes it very difficult sometimes for the passing lanes. You have to be very careful that you bring people further out to make the pass you'd like to make. They look for Buck Johnson every time somebody handles it on the wings.
Darrell Neal, there's that outside shot you were talking about, Joe. He missed it, but Johnson with a rebound. Goes back up in traffic, no good. Hurt has it, his follow, it's good.
You see the offensive board work again. Buck Johnson couldn't get it to go, but Bobby Lee Hurt brought it home, and that's number 11 for Bobby Lee Hurt.
Wimp Sanderson like a caged animal over on the sideline.
He is fired up, Tom.
Joe, I don't think we've ever seen better offensive rebounding by both teams than we've seen here today.
They have really gone to the board.
Morris is stuffed by Johnson. They say Johnson got him.
Look at it again if we can, because if he got him with his body. Wimp Sanderson said, looked like a clean block. He didn't like it at all, you can tell.
It looked like he was putting the X-ray vision on the official that time. That would penetrate a brick wall.
There was a stat there that we mentioned that Wimp Sanderson 11-5, the winningest coach in Southeastern Conference tournament play. Bobby Lee Hurt is 4 of 4 from the field.
Morris, who had missed his first free throw, hits that one. Mr. Basketball in the state of Georgia, as a high school senior last year, averaged 29 points and 12 rebounds as a high school senior. Missed that free throw, but his fellow freshman Moore gathers the rebound. Basket no good. Steps called. Traveling. That'll nullify an Auburn basket.
Give that walk the credit to Bobby Lee Hurt. They call it intimidation.
So Auburn will have to settle with the 1-point deficit. Alabama will come up court leading by 1.
And Alabama will hold it for the last shot with just under 30 seconds. Well, you see the clock. Auburn still zoning.
And they'll stay back in that zone. Now come out, put just a little token pressure in order to evade a warning from the referee and to start the 5-second count. Connor just comes in, penetrates that hash mark, takes a pass back with 7 seconds. Around the horn to Gottfried, 5. Inside they go, Hurt. Back to Gottfried with 2. With 1, Gottfried lets it fly. No good at the end of the first half. So Alabama holds it 30 seconds for the final shot, but can't connect. They sort of let time get away from them and didn't get a real high percentage shot. And they'll go to the dressing room with only a 1-point lead. From high atop the Birmingham Jefferson County Civic Center, you see the crowd in the setting. The All-Alabama final with the University of Alabama leading by 1 at halftime, 30-29. We'll be back for our halftime activities from Birmingham right after these messages. Getting ready for the second half with Alabama leading Auburn by 1, 30-29. Joe, let's take a look at some first half stats.
Well, Alabama they didn't shoot their average time, not quite as well as they've been shooting. They've been shooting 51%. They only shot 48.1 on 13 of 27. Auburn 12 of 30, 40%. You see the free throws. Auburn 5 of 7, and Auburn has not been a good free throw shooting team all year, just 64%. Alabama 80%. Alabama leads in rebounding, and when Alabama has led in rebounding, they are 17-2. So if they can out-rebound Auburn, which is difficult, then they have had great success. How about individual scoring?
Not many turnovers either, as you see on the bottom there. Here are the individual scoring totals. Chuck Person leads all scorers. The only Auburn player in double figures. He has 12. 5 for Morris, 4 each for Ford and Holland, White and Moore, 2 each. Nobody in foul trouble. For Alabama, leading the way, Bobby Lee Hurt with 11. McKee has 8, 7 for Johnson, that potent inside game. Connor and Gottfried, 2 apiece, and nobody in foul trouble for Alabama. Second half underway. Bama with the ball to open the second half. It's Connor, McKee, Johnson, Gottfried, and Hurt, the original starting 5 for the Crimson Tide. Auburn counters with White, Ford, Morris, Moore, and Person, their original starting quintet. Auburn sticking with his own.
Still packing it in. Chuck Person, 5 of 9 in the first half with 6 rebounds. Buck Johnson, 9 rebounds in that first half. He was 3 of 8 from the field.
Alabama with a 1-point lead. We're in the opening seconds of the second half of play. The SEC Tournament Championship game. Terry Connor penetrates. Shot is good.
Well, that's what he does so well. He leads this league in assists, and one of the reasons is the great penetration. But nobody picked him up. And normally, if they do, he hangs well. He has good body control. He'll dish it off underneath. That time, he saw daylight, and he laid it in. Beautiful move by Terry Connor.
Hammer by 3. Person falls down. Picked up by Buck Johnson. He goes all the way, and it won't go. Let's see. We have a foul. Johnson set sail, I think, before he even got to the free throw line.
He knew that Chris Morris was trailing him and was going to try to reject it against him. And Buck Johnson took off. Watch this. He loses his footing right here.
McKee's foot.
That's right. He sure did. He goes, and here's Buck Johnson in a foot race to the Alabama basket against number 34, Chris Morris.
He took up his dribble just at the top of the key, Joe, with a giant step and a half, went all the way in.
And Morris didn't really get too much of him.
Johnson has hit the first free throw. He'll have another one.
The biggest lead in this game in the first half was 8 by Alabama. 8 to go in the half.
Buck Johnson hits both free throws. Bama has outscored Auburn 4-0 to begin the second half. They beat the pressure. Ford off the glass, missed it. Moore with a follow. No good, but a foul on McKee.
Alabama picks up with full court zone pressure after every made foul shot. Auburn handled it with ease and had a 2-on-1 on the backside. They couldn't get it to go, but they had the good offensive rebounding because they had the numbers. And Jeff Moore, number 40, just a freshman, he'll shoot 2.
That's the 3rd foul on Derek McKee, the first player in the game with as many as 3. First foul called in the second half. Moore can't hit the free throw.
Remember, Auburn, poor free throw shooting team, 64.1% on the year. Alabama is just a fraction over 70%.
Auburn next to last in the league in the free throw shooting category. Moore got 1 of 2. He has 3 points, and the Alabama lead is 4, 34-30. Tried to trap Terry Connor. He got out of it and fed off to Gottfried.
They emphasize Auburn's free throw shooting because that could be a real factor down in the stretch drive.
Connor whips to Gottfried in the corner. Try on the other side where Johnson is trying to post up low, and Chuck Person right there behind him giving a little body. Person just kind of plants his leg and keeps Johnson from backing in. Gottfried drives baseline. He's fouled.
It's a real chess game, no question about that. Bama wants to take it inside, particularly to Buck Johnson or Bobby Lee Hurt. Auburn is saying no. When there's any entry pass at all to the wings, that Auburn defense just collapses inside against those 2 players.
Jeff Moore committing his 2nd foul and the first whistled against Auburn this half. We played almost 2 minutes. And Alabama has outscored Auburn 4-1 in the 2nd frame. Connor twirled around and down through the net. Terry Connor has 4 points this half, 6 for the game.
He says, I'll take him any way I can get him. It played a little ring around the rosy, but it went down. He doesn't shoot much from the outside, but he got that one to go.
So Sonny Smith has found his Auburn team outscored 6-1 to start the 2nd half and has called for a timeout. Timeout taken by Auburn, 17:47 remaining. The score, Alabama 36, Auburn 30. We'll be right back. Alabama leading by 6, Auburn with the basketball. 17:40 to play in the first half. Chuck Person missed everything with a shot just right next to the sideline, and a rebounding foul whistled against Auburn. Jeff Moore, I believe, has just picked up his 3rd foul.
Alabama zoned that inbounds pass. Auburn picked it up. They went to the guy that they wanted to put it up, but he didn't get it there at all. He didn't really look like real good balance in his shooting. He was kind of going backwards. He shot an air ball, and that's Chuck Person. And Auburn fouled underneath.
Moore has his 3rd, first Auburn player in foul trouble. Gottfried fakes, doesn't shoot, and can't feed inside either, so they come back outside with it. Buck Johnson just inside the key, short. McKee battling for the rebound, couldn't hold it, and White sets sail for Auburn. Pulls up, jumper, 17 feet, beauty.
That's their game. Bring it down to you. You better shut it down quick, or they'll get it in the basket before you get the defense set up, and that's all that really happened. Gerald White, their point guard, their leading assist man. He played string music here.
That's the Alabama lead to 4. 3-2 zone this time from the Tigers.
They've been bringing Buck Johnson high, and he shot 2 or 3 from there, and that's out of his range. He needs to be about 12 feet on in.
Gottfried, long-range bomber, short on the floor, picked up by Person. Here's the outlet to White. Tigers trying for the transition. White lets it fly. No good. Inside position by Frank Ford, and Hurt has his 2nd foul.
Same thing by Auburn. They got the ball out, got it down quick. Bama couldn't get set up defensively. Gerald White had the good shot. It wouldn't go, but underneath, Frank Ford, he had the inside position against Bobby Lee Hurt, and Bobby Lee Hurt really made a good foul. If he hadn't, Ford would have just had an easy putback in.
On the common foul, the 2nd against Alabama this half, Auburn puts it into play from beneath their own goal. Alabama zones on the inbounds play.
Good shot of it there on your screen. Looks like a 2-3.
Morris, White, little penetration, but not much. Morris takes it from the perimeter. Chris Morris showing us good range as well. He has 7 points.
They moved it very well against the Alabama zone defense and got an excellent shot for Chris Morris.
Auburn within 2. Connor comes straight away, facing a 3-2. Gottfried trying to get it inside. Couldn't get it to Johnson. They'll try the other side, see if they can get it to Hurt. Nothing there. Back out straight away. Gottfried looks inside for Johnson again. Nothing there. Here's Connor. McKee drives baseline. Jump shot no good. Person clears the rebound for Auburn, and a foul on Alabama.
I think that's number 4 on McKee.
Derek McKee whistled for his 4th personal. Sonny Smith leads the cheers as McKee becomes the first player in the game with as many as 4. Jim Farmer will come in to replace him.
The Auburn zone gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Alabama must hit on the perimeter, or it will get so tight they'll never get it inside to Bobby Lee Hurt and Buck Johnson.
Here's Auburn with a chance to tie. The Tigers looking for their first ever Southeastern Conference Tournament championship and looking for only their 2nd trip in history to the NCAA tournament. Last year they went to the NCAA after finishing 2nd, beaten by 2 by the Kentucky Wildcats in the SEC final.
Alabama back in a man defense. We had a blocking foul underneath against Auburn.
So away from the ball, Auburn. Darren Guest has been whistled for the personal foul. Guest, a 6'9" freshman out of Harvey, Illinois, averaging 2 a game and costing Auburn a possession there.
They were trying to free Chuck Person along the baseline. He stepped in and fouled. You see the foul problems there. Moore has 3 for Auburn. McKee has 4 for Alabama. And, of course, he's out of the game.
Guest immediately went out, and Kerry Holland is in for Auburn. Bama with the ball and a 2-point edge. This is Connor. Gottfried. Hurt posting up low. Can't get it to him. Jim Farmer lets it go. Hurt with a rebound. He pushed off to get it. That's 3 fouls now on Bobby Lee Hurt.
Bama just cannot hit that outside perimeter shot. And it's going to fall down to that. It's going to be Jim Farmer, Mark Gottfried, and Terry Connor. And this man's worried. That's head coach of Alabama, Wimp Sanderson. He's won 101 games and only lost 51 since taking over as the head coach. And he's averaged over 20 wins a season since taking over. And he's gone to 3 straight NCAA tournaments, and he's getting ready to go to his 4th this year.
2 fierce rivals, Auburn and Alabama, and 2 coaches with similar win records. Wimp Sanderson has won 101 at Alabama. Sonny Smith won 102 at Auburn. Chuck Person can't hit. Hurt has the rebound. Connor, Scott Farmer to the hoop. Reverse is good.
Beautiful pass from Terry Connor. He lobbed it out and let Jim Farmer run under it. He ran under it and reverse layup, and that's what got him open. They would have rejected it on the other side.
Crimson Tide leads by 4. Person over Farmer. No good. Rebound Morris saves it to Ford. Fakes, fires, too hard. Battle for the rebound. Buck Johnson has it. Ford fouled him.
Jim Farmer just working so hard against Chuck Person. He tried to front. They lobbed over him. He hustled back, got behind him. Chuck Person felt the pressure. He missed about a 10-footer. It looked like Auburn had it, but Alabama fighting like tigers underneath there, and that's what the Auburn Tigers are. And all of a sudden, we had a foul underneath on Frank Ford.
15 foul on Auburn.
Look how tight that zone defense is, Tom. Look at the blue shirts. They're almost all in the paint. It's a good shot there.
Johnson flashes back to Farmer. Shot no good. Holland. And a foul on Farmer, or Gottfried it is, reaching in. Mark Gottfried with his first. And the 4th team foul against the Crimson Tide.
Jim Farmer's
15 foul, Joe.
15 foul on Auburn, 15 foul on Alabama. Both the same. Jim Farmer's missed 2 in a row from that same spot. And you can see on your screen, it was a great picture you had there. That defense just keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Auburn looking to pull within 2.
The front line of Alabama has not scored a field goal in the second half.
Gottfried with another quick foul, his 2nd. Johnson has 2 free throws, and that's all for the front line of Alabama. They had combined for 26 points in the first half, 26 of the 30 total in the first half, but in the second half, combined total of only 2 and not a field goal.
You know that's exactly what Sonny Smith talked about at halftime. He knew that as well. He said we must wad it and we must shut it down.
Chuck Person also blanked for the second half and on the sideline right now. He had 12 points at halftime but hasn't scored in the second frame. Holland shoots it up. No good. Good rebound by Ford. His follow is there. tapped it until he could gain control and then banged it home.
He's just bigger than Mark Goffrey on the weak side, and he just outfought him for the ball.
38-36, Alabama with the basketball, holding a 2-point lead. Auburn packs the zone in again. Alabama unable to hit from outside last couple of possessions. Connor will try it from there. 18-footer is good. Connor just has such a soft shot. He's gotten several roll-ins today.
He's not looked upon as being the great outside shooter, but he's hit 2 here in the second half, and they've been big.
Connor with 8 points in the game. The Bama lead is 4. 12 minutes to play in the championship game. Moore. Farmer knocked it away from him. Morris saves it. His shot under pressure, no good. Tapped around. It'll go to Alabama off of Frank Ford. Here's Darrell Neal into the game for Alabama. And Chuck Person will come in for Auburn. But first, we'll take a timeout. We have a timeout called with 11 minutes, 51 seconds to play. And Alabama holding a 4-point lead. The score, Alabama 40, Auburn 36. We'll be back to Birmingham right after these messages. This broadcast presented by the Lorimar Sports Network. Any copying or use of the broadcast without the express permission of the Lorimar Sports Network is prohibited. Here's some other scores from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Second half score in the semifinals from Atlanta. North Carolina leading North Carolina State 32-28. First half score, Southwest Conference underway, and Arkansas leading SMU by 7.
In this game, Terry Connor has hit 4 field goals in a row for Alabama. He's 4 of 5 from the field. In the second half, Auburn just 3 of 10, 30%. Alabama 4 of 9, 44.4, but Auburn has taken the big rebounding edge here in the second half, 8-4 over Alabama, and it shows.
That gives them the rebounding edge for the game now.
No question.
But they still trail by 4 points, and Alabama has the ball. Buck Johnson has his shot blocked by Moore. Scramble, ball on the floor, bodies everywhere, jump ball. It'll go to Auburn.
They finally got the ball inside low to Buck Johnson. One of the few times they've had it low to him at all in this game, but the first time, I think, in this second half. Great rejection underneath. Ball loose on the floor, tied up. It'll be Auburn's ball. Next jump ball situation on the alternating jump ball will belong to Alabama.
Freshman Jeff Moore getting right in the face of Buck Johnson and stuffing the All-SEC performer. Blocked his shot, scramble for it. It turns out to be Auburn's basketball, and the Tigers a chance to come within 2.
Bama's still man-to-man defensively.
The Auburn War Eagle chant going up from the blue and orange fans here in Birmingham. Person, 17, no good. Person still hasn't scored this half. Johnson, rebound, quick outlet in front court to Farmer. Darrell Neal. Here's Johnson, turns, fires. Moore made him change his shot. It rolled off. Rebound, Holland. Frank Ford got away from Farmer to the basket. He lays it in. It won't count. No basket. Traveling call.
I thought he walked before the second time. They missed it the first time. No doubt in my mind, he walked definitely the second time, juggled his feet. He had a lot of walking. Definitely a good call. Let's look at it again. He juggled his feet right there before he put the ball down. Then he juggled them again right there.
Took 2.5 steps to get to the basket after taking up his dribble. It was a definite walk.
And a big break for Bama because he was wide open for the lay-in.
Did you see Jeff Moore make Buck Johnson change the angle of his shot again with a hand right in his face? He blocked his shot last time. Here's Neal. No good. Got his own rebound and a foul on Auburn. Nobody blocked him off. He went right in to gather the rebound.
Again, we talk about it so much. One of the weaknesses of that zone defense. Somebody has to step out, particularly against the shooter. When the ball goes up, turn and block the shooter off if you're in the zone of that area. And Jeff Moore, 2 good defensive plays inside against Buck Johnson.
Saw Wimp Sanderson surveying the scene. His team leads by 4. Chris Morris back in for Auburn, replacing Jeff Moore.
Darrell Neal, number 40 on that left wing. He's working the baseline. He is a good outside shooter, but mostly a street shooter. He's hot and cold.
Connor has carried the burden in the second half. Here's an offensive foul on Terry Connor. Connor bowling over Gerald White. Got him right in the midsection, and White had the air knocked out of him. Terry Connor has his 3rd foul. Alabama getting in some foul trouble. McKee with 4, Hurt and Connor now with 3 each.
Good defense by Gerald White. He stepped out of that three-man front of that zone defense, and he just stayed with Terry Connor, who was trying to get down in that corner to get it inside to Buck Johnson. The defense said no, and he charged. And Wimp Sanderson of Alabama again directing traffic.
Alabama zone defense. Here's Ford, open for the jump shot, way off the mark, no good. Right to Farmer of Alabama, he's got Neal. Neal to the hoop for a stuff.
Great pass by Jim Farmer.
And Auburn's going to take a timeout. Neal releasing down court. Farmer spotted him, hit him with a bullet, and Neal went in for the jam. Timeout with 9:41 remaining in this championship game. Alabama leading Auburn 42-36.
Tight zone defense of Auburn. Bobby Lee Hurd had 11 points in the first half. He has not attempted a shot in the second half.
And Chuck Person, who scored 12 points for Auburn in the first half, has been held scoreless here in the second frame, and we're past the midway point. White deals back to Ford. That's goaltending. Johnson hit it on the way down. Frank Ford gets credit for the basket, his 8th point of the game, and Auburn pulls within 4 at 42-38.
Auburn has not been shooting well, but Alabama's the #1 defensive team. Remember that in the Southeastern Conference. They've only allowed their opponents field goal shooting of 44.3% on the season.
And only allowing on the season 61 points a game. Connor from 16, high kicker. Bobby Lee Hurt went way up for the rebound and drew the foul. Hurt, in his final few games as a senior, they're going to be going to the NCAA tournament. But, Joe, it's been our pleasure to watch him play for 4 years. As we have said many times, he's a blue-collar type player. Comes ready to play, always with a smile on his face.
Tom, if Bobby Lee Hurt makes all tournament here today, he will have made it 3 years in a row. A little trivia for you. Who was the last Southeastern Conference basketball player to do that?
I don't know.
He's sitting next to you.
Is that right? Joe Dean of LSU.
He's sitting next to you.
All right. That is a good trivia
Thought
question.
you'd like a little trivia. Bobby Lee Hurt made the front end. That's the first shot he's attempted here in the second half, and it was at the foul line.
You know, Hurt is not a good free throw shooter, we've said all season. Today, he's 4 for 4. Look at it from right behind the basket. Switch. Hurt now with 13 points.
You're right about Bobby Lee Hurt, just 59% at the line. Person's 0-3 in the second half. He still hadn't scored, and that's been a factor for Auburn.
6-point lead for the Crimson Tide. Inside, floating shot by Person. Just split the defenders in midair to make 2.
We knew we could get him to score. All we had to do was say he was 0 for 3. He heard us, and he said, I'll answer. And he does. He keeps Auburn right in the hunt here. Just down 4.
Neal flashes back out to Farmer and to Connor. Blindside steal by Morris, knocked it away. Alabama retains possession. Johnny Lynn comes into the game for Auburn. He replaces Frank Ford. There's Lynn. Played in the first half, didn't score. And Ford goes out. Alabama controlling. See that in SEC tournament play, Alabama has never lost to Auburn. Farmer, Neal, inside, Johnson, traveled, shuffled his feet.
Well, they got it in low. They moved it beautifully. A little penetration, quick movement of the ball, bounced past to Buck Johnson. He's been rejected 2 times in a row by Moore on the inside. I think he felt the intimidation.
That's the turnover situation, all even at 3. Auburn with a chance to pull within 2.
Bama's zoning on this offensive set by Auburn.
That's the score with 7:52 remaining. Lynn knocked back in his face, but taken by Person. That was Hurt that got a hand on it.
This is not Bama's best defense. They normally don't like the zone.
Lynn takes it short, no good. Foul on Morris over the back of Johnson. Chris Morris, number 2.
It has been a complete war on both boards. They really have gone after it. Buck Johnson on a good block out against Chris Morris. Chris Morris got a piece of him, and Buck Johnson will go to the Alabama foul line and shoot one, and he hopes the bonus.
It is the third foul on Morris, not the second, but the third on Chris Morris.
Johnson will be shooting 1-1.
And Johnson to shoot 1+1. All Southeastern Conference performer. Number 6 scorer in the league at 16 a game. And with 10 points this afternoon and over 10 rebounds.
7:36 to go in this game. Free throw shooting is going to be so critical.
Ford replaces Lynn in the Auburn lineup as Johnson gets set for his second free throw. And he got it. By my count, Joe, Alabama has not missed a free throw today. They're 10 for 10. 46-40, the lead for Alabama.
They've been shooting 70% on the season.
They did miss one in the first half, so
Bobby Lee Hurt missed one. He was 3 of 4.
all right, so
They're 10 of 11.
10 of 11 today. Excellent free throw shooting by Alabama.
And in that zone, you can see it. A good shot right there. You see all the white jerseys. They're really packing it in right now.
Especially when Person gets the ball low, as he did there. Morris is open from 15. It rolls in.
Good touch. Bama zoning because they don't want to foul.
9 points for Morris, and Auburn within 4 at 46-42.
Both third games during the regular season. At Auburn, it was just a 5-point Bama victory. In Tuscaloosa, just 2, and it was double overtime, so we expected it to be close.
Hurt, double team. They took it away from him. Ford with a steal. Outlet to Morris, and a foul on Farmer of Alabama. Wimp Sanderson can't believe it.
Neither can Jim Farmer. Wimp Sanderson, and it puts Auburn at the line to shoot 1-1.
We'll see it again here.
Ford double teamed out of that zone, got the steal. The official felt like Jim Farmer stepped in. Looked like he did. Look at it again, one more time.
Pretty close call. Leaned into him a little bit, perhaps, and you got to give him room to come down, don't you?
A little room to move, and he looked like was still. Look at Jim Farmer. He didn't like the call at all. What an improved player he's been for Alabama. Redshirted a year and has played a lot this year and started some games.
Ford makes the free throw. The officials, Don Rutledge, Charles Vaca, and Ben Dunn today.
Frank Ford, normally not a real good free throw shooter, just 59.2% on the year. But he made the front end of 1-1, and they get bigger as this game moves down the stretch.
And he's 4 for 4 at the line today. He has 10 points, and Auburn pulls within 2. 46-44, Alabama with the lead, as you see, less than 6.5 minutes.
We have Darrell Neal working the baseline for Alabama.
It's been an uphill struggle for Auburn. They led briefly by 2 in the early going. Alabama captured the lead. They've held it ever since. Their biggest advantage 8 in the first half, but never able to pull away. Biggest lead in the second half has been 6.
Auburn just not going to let that ball go inside to Buck Johnson. Look at that. It's a foul. Look at that.
And it'll be a foul on Person for bodying Johnson. Second foul on Person, and Johnson will go to the free throw line. How much longer before Alabama might back it out and make them come out of the zone?
I think he would love to have a 4-point lead to do that, although against Mississippi State in a game that was a low-scoring game, he backed it out with the score tied. He made a comment on the interview afterwards that nothing else was working, so we thought we'd try that and see what would happen. And it worked and paid dividends for him because they won an 11-point victory, and there was no indication of how close the game was.
Buck Johnson is 7 for 7 at the free throw line this afternoon. 13 points for Johnson, over 10 rebounds. He gives Bama a 4-point lead with 5:45 to play.
Bama back man-to-man defensively. That's their best defense.
Person fakes, fires, no good. Rebound Johnson. Alabama with the lead now in a basketball, and Coach Wimp Sanderson may be planning to stall it out and pull him out of the zone. He's called a timeout to discuss it. Sonny Smith watches his star player Chuck Person let it fly. It comes up short, and Sonny Smith registers the reaction. Bama leads by 4.
The Ramada Renault
Auburn 48-44 with 5:25 to play. Here are some other tournament scores. Atlantic Coast Conference second half. Carolina leading Carolina State by 2, 38-36. From the Southwest Conference in the first half, Arkansas builds its lead over SMU, 27-14. Regular season game, 2 Independence. Marquette wins by 4 over DePaul. As you see the situation here, 5:25 left in this championship game in the SEC tournament.
Well, Wimp Sanderson has put Mark Gottfried in the game, so he now has really 3 perimeter players. Mark Gottfried, Jim Farmer, Terry Connor, all 3 good ball handlers, all good free throw shooters, and I would be a little surprised if he doesn't back it out. Sonny Smith thinks so too, so he's gone to zone trapping defense. It paid dividends for him against Florida. They're still in the zone, but they're trapping out of it. Auburn just 6 of 17 in the second half shooting. Maybe the fatigue and the 4 games in 4 days has grabbed him.
In fact, many of those shots, Joe, have been short, which is sometimes a sign of that fatigue, isn't it?
Particularly Chuck Person, you're right. Hitting the front of that rim. Bama 5 of 14 the second half.
Connor works his way inside to Hurt, doesn't take the shot, instead feeds back out to Gottfried. Alabama definitely working the clock now with a 4-point lead.
They've gone to a spread. They want to open it up, and they'd love to get it in the hands of Buck Johnson low. And that's why Auburn's gone to this trap defense. Wimp Sanderson made a move. Sonny Smith countered.
Blocking foul, Gerald White of Auburn. 3rd foul on White. This could be Sonny Smith's last game as head coach at Auburn. Lest the Tigers receive a postseason tournament bid, and with 19 wins, they would be a prime candidate. On the fence, I guess you could say they were.
Awfully close. 19 wins. I think it'd be hard to keep them out. Jim Farmer shooting 74 points, 6 on the year, and these get big, and Bama is 12 of 13 at the foul line for the afternoon.
And that'll win you a lot of games.
Will win a lot of games. Auburn 8 of 11.
Right now, they're taking a little time to keep the floor. There's some perspiration on the floor, and they're mopping it up as Wimp Sanderson continues to feed instructions to his team. If you looked up intense in the dictionary, it would say Wimp Sanderson.
No question about it, and that's Benny Dees, one of his top assistants on the right.
Farmer misses the shot. Farmer missed the shot. It rolled off. A rare miss at the free throw line for Alabama. And now Auburn has a chance to pull within 2. Clock shows 4 minutes, 15 seconds, and starts to tick down.
Game this low scoring every possession, particularly with the clock. We're down to almost 4 minutes. Every possession becomes so critical.
White gives it to Ford. A team that's had to play 4 games has never won the tournament championship. Here's a foul as Chuck Person drove for the basket. Buck Johnson committed his 2nd foul, so Person will step to the line. Watch it again.
Just a little clear out on the right side, a little fake to the left. He came back right, trying to whip Buck Johnson one-on-one. He whipped him, no question about it, and he's going to go to the line and shoot 1-and-1 and a chance to cut it to 2. You notice, Tom, when it gets down to nitty-gritty time, Auburn went to Chuck Person. There was no question in their mind what they were going to do.
Got the first, he'll have another. Joe, it's interesting just to speculate, had not Charles Barkley gone hardship and turned pro a year early, what about this Auburn team?
Oh, the round mound of rebound, and what a show he put on last year in this league.
Person hits them both. And substitution, Kerry Holland is in for Auburn, and Jeff Moore goes out. Full court pressure from the Tigers. They pulled within 2. It's 48-46 Alabama. 3:50 now left in the game.
Still in that zone trapping defense. A little soft till they cross the line, then they trap.
Trapped Connor, got rid of it to Johnson. Alabama still at long range. Here's Connor. Morris out guarding him. Remember now, Alabama just leads by 2. A little different playing this style game with a 2-point lead as opposed to the 4-point lead they had a moment ago.
No question about that, and Auburn's not as aggressive defensively. They're not out trapping quite so much. They're still packing it in, and Alabama looks like they're trying to maybe attack it just a little bit.
Farmer, who's not had the good shooting day from outside, a little reluctant to take the shot. They're giving him room. Gottfried. And I believe Auburn matching up man-to-man here.
Well, they're just putting a little pressure on the point of the ball. They're still in the zone defense. They just back away. Nope, they've gone man-to-man now. It's just a soft man.
Godfrey rimmed out. Person couldn't handle the rebound. Johnson saves it for Alabama. Right off Person's hand.
Mark Godfrey had a wide open shot. It was Heartbreak Hotel. It went in and out. And Auburn just couldn't get the handle, and Alabama kept possession. Godfrey continues to dribble at long range. Clock down, approaching 2 minutes. Saved inbounds, but not quite in time. Back to Alabama. Chuck Person anticipated the pass. He fronted very quickly. Got it, but just couldn't quite hold on. Here's Godfrey trying to go inside right there to Buck Johnson. But he fronted, but he stepped right there on the sideline. We're down to 2:12. Here's Farmer. Chris Morris has him. Farmer got a step, kicked it back outside to Connor. And even 2 minutes left. Auburn definitely man-to-man, but it's not real aggressive. It's a little soft. Johnson flashes back to Godfrey. They're going to have to put on more pressure than this. Pretty soon they're going to have to start thinking about an intentional foul. No question about it. Who would you foul, Joe? As we scan the list, it might be Bobby Lee Hurt. But he hasn't touched the ball in a long time. They don't want him to either. Bobby Lee Hurt, that's who. If he gets it, they're going to challenge him. Auburn's not putting on enough pressure. They've got to go out and make it happen. 1:22 on the clock. I like their zone trapping defense better than this. It's too soft. There's a foul backside. Morris went for the foul. It'll send Farmer to the line. And Farmer, normally a good 75% free throw shooter, but 0 for 1 today. That's the 4th foul on Chris Morris. And Auburn's going to take a timeout before Farmer gets a chance to toe the line. So let him think about it a little bit and also plan the strategy for the final 1 minute, 16 seconds. Timeout charged to Auburn, and the Tigers trail by 2. Farmer will be at the line when we come back. It's Bama 48, Auburn 46. A Person of Auburn, Johnson of Alabama. Here's the way they've stacked up so far. Buck Johnson, 13 points, 14 rebounds. He's winning the rebounding battle. Person winning the scoring battle with 16 points and 8 rebounds. Good production from both of those all-SEC players. At the free throw line, here's what's happened. This is important, Joe. 10 of 13 for Auburn, and Alabama's missed only 2, 12 of 14. And Farmer there when we come back. Jim Farmer missed the last free throw by Alabama. He's back there again, as you mentioned, almost 75% on the season. But this is big. Pressure is tremendous. 1 minute, 16 seconds left. Alabama leads by 2. Farmer on its way. It's good. Jim Farmer, the sophomore out of Dothan, Alabama. What I liked about it, he didn't come up short. He drove it right in the backside of that sack. Just a second. Rebound Holland of Auburn. Outlet pass to Person, who just barely caught up with it. Now feeds it back out to White as we approach 1 minute to play, and Auburn down 3. Jim Farmer's guarding Chuck Person. Here's Person with the ball. Pulls up. Shot is no good. Rebound by Ford. And as he goes back up, he is fouled. The foul is on Alabama's Farmer. No, Gottfried. He was on the floor. Couldn't see his number. It was Gottfried. Third foul on Gottfried, and it'll send Frank Ford to the free throw line, where he is 4 for 4 today. They ran a pick for Chuck Person. They picked Jim Farmer. Person came off shooting. Buck Johnson switched. But again, Chuck Person came up just a little bit short, like maybe he is a little bit tired. But Frank Ford with excellent defensive position on the weak side and fouled underneath. Free throw is good. That pulls Auburn within 2. 58 seconds left. Ford ready for his second free throw. Sends it on its way. Up and no good. Rebound by Johnson. Gives it up to Connor. Bama protects a 2-point lead. Clock ticks down toward 50 seconds. That's the score. Alabama by 2. Alabama doesn't want to shoot it unless they have the layup. They're going to go to a complete delay. You see the clock at the top of your screen, approaching the half-minute mark. Here's a foul. Morris again. Morris has just fouled out. I I think it was a good foul, though, because Jim Farmer had been a little shaky at the foul line. Even though he's been shooting 75% on the year, he's only 1 out of his last 3.
Morris fouls out with 33 seconds left and a total of 9 points in the game. And Farmer again will get set to go to the free throw line. Sonny Smith is going to take his time before he sends Johnny Lynn into the game to replace Morris and let Farmer think about those free throws again.
Alabama just has those 3 guards handling the ball, and they are excellent free throw shooters. Connor is one of them. He's 78%. Godfrey, 81.5%. And, of course, Jim Farmer, almost 75.
He's been up there practicing his toss again and backed off again. This weight, it might be getting to him a little bit, Joe.
No question about it.
He's looking over, waiting for the player to come in, impatient. Farmer feeling the pressure.
Not only is it for the Southeastern Conference Championship, it's also an automatic spot in the NCAA tournament, and it's also against their #1 rival, Auburn.
Free throw is no good. Battle for the rebound. Hurt had it. Holland takes it for Auburn. Lynn gives it up to White. 27, 26, 25. Auburn can tie it with a field goal.
Who do they go to?
Chuck Person, guarded by Johnson. Feeds it back to White with 16.
Can't wait too long.
Here's Frank Ford. Baseline against Farmer. On its way. Good. Game tied. Here's Connor quickly for Bama. 5, 4, 3. Connor puts it up. No good. And a foul. It's going to be a charging foul on Connor of Alabama. Auburn with a chance to win it with 1 second.
Terry Connor over-penetrated. He knew the clock was running down. They set him up beautifully inside. Look at it again. Right there, Frank Ford under tremendous pressure from Jim Farmer. Got string music for Auburn, and you can see the clock ticking. Watch the penetration now by Connor. When he hung in the air, that's when they set him up. And we're going to have a timeout time. They're going to let Auburn think about it also with 1 tick left on the clock.
And Wimp Sanderson, you see, with his hand behind his head, he's saying it was a player control foul. There shouldn't be any free throws. It ought to be just a possession for Auburn. He's calling for the player control foul. Meantime, Sonny Smith talking to Mac McCarthy, one of his assistants, and I think it's going to be Kerry Holland to shoot the free throws.
He's 67% on the year. You see Sonny Smith talking to Mac McCarthy, one of his assistants, about their strategy here with 1 second. Auburn, we thought they'd go to Chuck Person, but they really couldn't get the ball to him. The clock was running down, and Frank Ford, who's had, as I told you, just a super season. He shot over 54% on the year. He's played the good defense. He's done so many things. He is he's number 2 in steals on this team. He wasn't afraid to put it up, and he tied this game.
Auburn had to play that first game on Wednesday night, and they could be the first team to have ever won the tournament championship playing 4 games since the tournament was revived in 1979. A lot of milestones on the line here. Auburn could win its first tournament championship if Holland can make the free throws. They also could return for only the 2nd time in their history to the NCAA tournament. And how sweet it would be for Coach Sonny Smith, who has announced that he is retiring as head coach at Auburn at the end of this season.
How ironic. Here's a man in the middle of the year says, I'm going to pack it in. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go in the oil business, although we don't believe that. And he goes ahead, and he's 19-11, and has a chance here to get win number 20. Jim Farmer is 1 of 4, and that's really been the difference for Alabama down here at the end, because Bama did what they wanted to do. They let the air out. They had the lead. They spread the court, but they couldn't make their free throws.
Look at Holland pacing, trying a couple of shots, bending his knees. He's the only senior on this Auburn team. It's all on his shoulders right here. 1+1 with 1 second left. And Alabama calls another timeout to increase the pressure on Holland.
I love it. I love it.
So that gives us a chance to give you our Gulf MVPs for the game. And first we'll go to the Auburn MVP. And a moment ago we had said Chuck Person, who had scored 16 points to lead Auburn as he usually does. But when Frank Ford hit that clutch shot baseline to tie the game, and as it turns out to give Auburn a chance to win the championship, we made Frank Ford our MVP from Auburn with with 13 points and 3 rebounds this afternoon. Frank Ford is our golf MVP for the Auburn Tigers. And our golf MVP from Alabama, Buck Johnson, 13 points, great rebounding day, 14 rebounds. His work has kept Alabama in the game in this great, hard-fought college basketball contest. So it is Ford of Auburn, Johnson of Alabama. As part of the Gulf Oil Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program, Gulf will donate $500 to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools.
The key to this game has been the Auburn defense. They changed the defense 2 or 3 times. They were in a 2-3, but mostly it was a 3-2. They matched up well at times, but Alabama just could not hit the perimeter shot against that defense. And as a result, they could never get it inside, particularly the second half, to Buck Johnson and Bobby Lee Hurt.
Joe, Auburn has not had the lead since very early in the game. They had a 2-point lead very early. It's been an uphill battle for the Tigers, but with 1 second left, they do have a chance to win it. And their only senior, Kerry Holland, will step to the free throw line to shoot 1+1. And the game tied at 49. Auburn has not had the lead since the 1933 mark of the first half.
And that's when they went in front 2-0 on a basket by Chuck Person.
Here's Kerry Holland. He's a senior. He has 4 points. He's 0 for 1 at the free throw line. Ready to shoot 1+1. Left-hander. Shot good. No good. Front of the rim. And we've got overtime. No good. Short on the shot. Hurt cradled the rebound, and we've got overtime in the championship game.
What can you say? Kerry Holland feels bad. You can believe that. But Jim Farmer breathed a sigh of relief for Alabama.
We've got overtime, and we'll be back for the OT in just a moment. There's the toss, the tap. Chased down by Connor, knocked away by Ford. It goes to Lynn, who saves it to Holland. Great hustling play by Lynn, and then they throw it away. Holland takes it back. Well, that one changed hands about 4 times in 10 seconds.
Everybody got a piece of it. Bama 2-3 zone defense. It's amazing when they get into these overtimes how cautious everybody comes. Every possession critical. Every shot so key. And they really look for that good percentage shot. They're not as loose.
Ford feeds it back to Lynn straight away. No penetration of the zone at the moment. Just playing around the perimeter. Joe, I've seen teams hold it for 1 shot in overtime when the other one plays the zone.
It looks like Auburn's almost kind of backing it out. They're in no hurry at all. But they'd love to get it in the hands of Chuck Person. And if not Chuck Person, our MVP today, Frank Ford. Because we keep telling you, he's had a great year. He's got a lot of confidence in himself, and he'd love to put it up.
Ford's clutch baseline jumper tied the game. Locked down to 3 minutes and 40 seconds in this overtime period. We haven't had a shot yet. Auburn got the opening tap after a good save by Lynn.
Bobby Lee Hurt actually got the tip, but the way it was kicked back, it was almost ready to go out of bounds. It was kicked around, and Lynn made a beautiful save to keep it from going out of bounds. To come out and put a little pressure on them, Tom. They're sitting back in that zone defense and letting the clock run against them, and that puts them in a very difficult position.
Almost a walk by White. Remember here, a turnover is awfully critical as well. Any foul will be a 1+1 on either side. Less than 3 minutes now.
I think they'll just hold it all the way down and take the last shot unless Alabama puts a little more pressure on, unless they just picked up something real cheap. Maybe a little, say, 8 or 10 footer by Person or maybe Frank Ford, because they're in no hurry. They're not trying to penetrate. They'll give White or Lynn the outside shot. Neither one wants to take it, and you see the time.
From the Alabama side, Joe, they don't want to foul, so they'll probably live or die by that final shot, won't they?
It almost looks that way now. I don't like the strategy at all. They probably should have come out early, and now all of a sudden they're going man-to-man. Should have done it earlier. They've wasted 2.5, almost 3 minutes. And this is all Auburn wanted.
Person, 15, no good. Battle for the rebound. Comes down to Auburn, and it's traveling call on Ford. Ford was under heavy pressure after grabbing the rebound and took steps.
I think what happened, too, two Auburn players caught the ball simultaneously, and both of them were trying to gain possession because they wanted to get it up to the basket so much. And they walked, and, of course, you can see the ticks left on the clock. And let's see the Alabama strategy. Auburn's man-to-man defensively, but it's soft.
Alabama's turn to play cat and mouse now. Buck Johnson turns and fires. It's no good. Forward battle, saved inbounds by Johnson. McKee has it for Bama. They get another chance.
I'll say this for Buck Johnson. He had the shot he likes. He loves it along that baseline, and he wasn't afraid to put it up. He just couldn't get it to go.
And he did wade in to save the rebound. Johnson can't handle it, but saves it again. A couple of close calls for Alabama.
They're much more aggressive in there.
Farmer, way off the mark. Person with a rebound for Auburn. He got a pretty good shot, but missed it badly.
He had tremendous penetration. He wasn't even close. Wasn't the shot Wimp Sanderson wanted at all. 106.
Game still tied. Each team missing on its only possession of the overtime period so far, though Alabama had a couple of tries after a missed shot. They rebounded it.
I think they'll hold it for the last shot now.
See the clock under a minute. Now 40 seconds. Gerald White, Person, thought about shooting it over Johnson. He didn't. 30, 29. Person again. Johnson getting a little help from Farmer. 21-20. White still on the dribble. Connor right there defensively. Lynn was open, didn't take it. Here's White. 14. Timeout, Auburn. So Sonny Smith will hold it for the final shot. He sets up that shot right now with 11 seconds left. And we're going to take a local break. So we'll be back for the final 11 seconds of overtime. Game tied at 49. Now this word from your local station. 11 seconds left in overtime. Game tied at 49. Auburn will have the basketball and again a chance to win it. With 1 second left in regulation, they missed a free throw, but now a new life, a chance to win it in OT. Here's the final of that North Carolina State game in the ACC tournament, and the Tar Heels win it by 6, 57-51.
We had double overtime in Tuscaloosa near the end of the season. Could it happen again? Here's the 1985 All-SEC All-Tournament team. Bobby Lee hurt. I wasn't like somebody else that we talked about. I'm glad to see Bobby Lee hurt.
First player since Joe Dean to make All-SEC Tournament team 3 years in a row.
Buck Johnson, Alabama. Terry Connor, Alabama. 3 players from Alabama on the All-Tournament team. Andrew Moten from Florida, Chuck Person from Auburn, and the MVP of the tournament, Chuck Person of Auburn.
Connor with a steal commits the foul. Gerald White will step to the free throw line to shoot 1+1 in 10 seconds left.
Alabama with tremendous pressure trying to get a steal, and it looked for a second like Terry Connor had it, but they said no. You fouled. You got a piece of him as you tried to get the steal, and Gerald White will go to the line and shoot 1 and 1. And Connor is fouled out with 10 seconds left in overtime. He leaves with 8 points. And Wimp Sanderson's going to take time out for Alabama to set his strategy with just 10 ticks left in the first overtime. Gerald White is going to be the man that will shoot the free throws. He's the best free throw shooter on the Auburn team. They're going to just wait right before they give him the ball and take a timeout. Gottfried will come in to replace Connor for Alabama. Each team gets 1 extra timeout in an overtime. So watch Alabama. Let's see if they take a timeout. Mark Gottfried in for Alabama. He came in for Terry Connor, who fouled out. Right, Tom? Right. Let's see if they take timeout here. There it is. They waited right to the last second, and they do let Gerald White think about it a little bit. He goes to the Auburn bench, but he'll have a chance to put Auburn in front. 10 seconds left in overtime. We're tied at 49. Watch Wimp Sanderson. He fights every possession. Jim Farmer put it up here, 120 in overtime. It was way off the mark, and Wimp saw his chances for victory perhaps go down the drain. It will be up to Gerald White right now to try to put Auburn in front as you listen to Mac McCarthy and Sonny Smith giving instructions over at the Auburn bench. Jim Farmer, he's played so well all year long. And see the timeout remaining. Auburn none, Alabama 2. And Jim Farmer, who we mentioned earlier, one of the most improved players on this team. But just one of those things. If it goes in, you're a hero. If it doesn't, it's tough. A lot of guts just to take the shot with 120. Gerald White is the best free throw shooter on the Auburn team at 77%. And they're going to freeze him one more time with another timeout.
So Alabama now has one timeout remaining. And Auburn none. And Gerald White again feeling the pressure. 6'1" sophomore out of Augusta, Georgia. And the assistant steal leader on the Auburn team. He's going to be at the free throw line and a chance to win it. Perhaps with 10 seconds left. The final. All right, here's the situation. 10 seconds left in overtime. Game tied at 49. Gerald White shoots 1+1. First one up and good.
He acted like he had ice water in his veins. He got nothing but the bottom of the sack. Total string music. Didn't draw iron. He said, I've been here before and I love it.
White's second shot up. It's good.
Bama has 10 seconds to tie it.
Godfrey penetrates. He travels. Traveling call on Gottfried. Alabama turns it over with 5 seconds. Gottfried came up court in such a hurry, he tried to stop and just drug his pivot foot.
Instead of trying to move the ball, both Mark Gottfried and Terry Conner tried to over-penetrate, and they had plenty of time to get up a good shot. Full court pressure now by Alabama.
5 seconds left in overtime. McKee got a hand on it. Ford. He takes the pass and jams. Auburn wins. Auburn coach Sonny Smith announcing in midseason that he was retiring as Auburn coach, has won Auburn's first history tournament championship for the Southeastern Conference. Auburn led 2-0. Alabama tied it at 2-2. The Crimson Tide led all the way until there were 10 seconds left in overtime when 2 free throws by Gerald White gave the Tigers the lead. After a turnover, Ford with the outlet going in for the jam, putting an exclamation mark on the tournament championship for the come-from-behind Tigers of Auburn, the first team to ever play 4 games and win the SEC tournament championship since its revival in 1979. What a celebration for the Auburn Tigers and that man, Sonny Smith. How sweet it is. Making it doubly sweet, of course, is the fact that their great in-state rival Alabama on the losing end. But you can say that Alabama can be consoled with the fact that they played a tremendous game and also will be on their way to the NCAA tournament. Auburn now with a record of 20-11. Alabama goes to 21-9, and with this tournament championship goes the automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. 53-49, the final score. Auburn is the winner of the tournament championship. Joe, Sonny Smith next to you. Can you hear me? Joe, go ahead and take it in. Let's hear from Sonny Smith.
Sonny, I know you have laryngitis. You can hardly talk. You resigned in midseason. Has to be one of your great thrills.
Oh, the greatest thrill of my life. The greatest thrill of my life. And the greatest bunch of kids I've ever coached.
You kept packing that zone defense in, didn't you?
Yes. Well, the zone has been good to us for so long. And our kids just did a beautiful job. And this has got to be one of the happiest moments I've ever had.
It put you in the NCAA tournament. You've come from nowhere.
I said if we could ever go twice, it'd be built. And it's going to be built now. And I want to wish this team the very best. They're going to be great today.
Auburn should rehire you.
That's not possible.
I know he's lost his voice. He's about gone, Tom. Sonny Smith, he's done it. His 20th win. He won the Southeastern Conference Championship here in overtime by 4 on a stuff for the last basket. Tom Hammond, back to you.
All right, thank you, Joe Dean. It was a tremendous game played by both teams, hard fought, and again, that come-from-behind battle by the Auburn Tigers, who never gave up. They scored the first basket of the game. They were ahead 2-0. Alabama tied it at 2-2, and the Tide led the rest of the way. They were up by 1 at halftime, led by as many as 6 in the second half, and here it is again. This put the cap on it. Frank Ford takes the pass with Sonny Smith watching. Ford will jam, and Auburn will win the Southeastern Conference Tournament Championship. This is Tom Hammond for Joe Dean and our entire Lorimar Sports Network crew, thanking you for being with us all season long and saying so long from Birmingham. In overtime, Auburn wins by 4.